When the fourth Rebbe of Chabad, his name was the Rebbe Shmuel. When he was just a child, he was a very precocious child, very, you say, intelligent and sharp and active, very tremendously active and inquisitive. And okay, there's three stories, outstanding stories that I know about him, and I'll tell you one of them. Now, when he was a child, his father was the Tzemach Tzedek. His father was the third Rebbe of Chabad. People came from all over the world to ask his advice and to ask his, from his Torah knowledge, to ask Torah questions. Rabbis wrote him letters, and also to receive blessings. So, but also the Tzemach Tzedek was also the head of Chabad, and Chabad takes the responsibility for all the Jews in the world. That's what Chabad does. So sometimes the Tzemach Tzedek would lock himself in his room if there was an impending danger or disaster or something, Jewish people, and he would pray. And it happened to be that there was a time like this where he had locked himself in his room and he was praying to God to have mercy on the Jewish people. Like in this week's Torah portion, Moses prayed to God not to wipe out the Jewish people, and God listened to him. And so prayers help. So he was praying. Meanwhile, all the people are waiting outside, and they came with, some of them desperate problems, and that only the Rebbe could solve, and they were waiting for his blessing, and he wasn't accepting people. People weren't coming. So the Rebbe's son was wandering around, this Rebbe Shmuel. Let's say at the time he was 6 years old. And he would wander around, he would ask the different people and talk to them. So he went to one man, he went to one man, a simple poor fellow, and he said, why are you here? He said, well, I don't have any money, and my daughter's getting married, and I have to have money to buy a talit for the chatan. A talit. I don't have any money to buy a talit for the chatan. I don't know where to go. I tried collecting money. I tried this, so I want advice. That's the way I heard the story. It seems to me maybe he needed more than that. But anyway, I'm telling you the story how I told it. That's what he needed. He needed a talit for a simple Jew. Good. He went to the Jew next to him. What's your problem? He was a rich guy, well dressed. What's the problem? So this rich fellow figures, this is the chance. I'll tell his son. His son will probably go in and tell his father, listen, maybe you can go into your father, please, and intercede. He starts talking to the boy, realizes the boy is clever, and he'll remember, he says, listen, I got a big problem. And my problem is that I have a big factory that we make pots and pans, kitchen utensils and cooking utensils. And I got a big assignment from the army to make $1 million worth of pots and pans. So I said, okay, and I did what everybody else does. I said that, okay, in order to do that, 1 million, so, that'll build a million, that'll a million rubles will buy 1 million pounds of steel, of steel. You need steel. And in order to make that, I need $1 million. 1 million rubles. The fact of the matter is 1 million pounds of steel. I have a place where I can get it cheap, and it won't cost 1 million rubles. It won't cost 1 million rubles. It'll only cost, let's say, 950,000 rubles. So I would make 50,000 on my own. That's what everybody does. And in addition to that, I would take also for the work and for this. And so that's what I did. And I made I prevented 1 million pounds of steel, and I gave to the army. And one of my workers, he informed on me that I was stealing from the government. And now I'm in big trouble. And they're checking my tape papers and everything like that. And I don't know what to do. And I went to different lawyers. No lawyer wants to take my case. And I'm coming to the Rebbe for help. So I need help. So little Shmuel, he said, just one second, let me go into my father's room. So he went into the father's room, and the Tzemach Tzedek was there praying, and he was davening and praying and reading Tehillim and so on and crying. And so Shmuel came out, and he said to this rich guy, he said, listen, you see this person sitting over here, he needs money for his daughter's wedding. You give him money for the daughter's wedding, right? To buy a tallit, whatever it needs, you give him the money and everything will be okay. He said, that's it? He said, yeah, that's it. So he gives him, 500 rubles, whatever it is, he gives him whatever he has to give him. The man is tremendously happy. The man realizes this is a blessing from the Rebbe. He got his money, and this fellow goes home. It's happy, it's all fixed up. Comes the day of the trial. The man goes to trial. He doesn't have a lawyer or anything. He's sure 100% everything is going to be, go. And the trial proceeds. And first of all, there was the prosecution, and the prosecution says, they bring all their proof and they bring the witnesses and they bring everything. Says, you said it cost $1 million for this, this iron, for 1,000,000 pounds of iron. And in fact, it doesn't cost that much. And you stole the 50,000 for for the 1,000,000 tons of iron you stole. And they brought a witness after witness. So, okay, what about you? That was the end of the prosecution. We rest our case. Okay, what about you, what is it? The accused. What do you have to say in your defense? So he never really thought it would come to this. He thought that it would be a big blessing and that it wouldn't come, the judge would lose the papers or something. So he just burst out crying and said, Your Honor, I'm innocent. I'm innocent. The fact of the matter is he was not innocent, but he did what everybody did. Everybody did. That's what everyone did. Right? It was just a common thing, a known thing. He said, Your Majesty, your Honor, I'm innocent. So the judge said, the other side, of course, the prosecution, they all are laughing. We got it for sure. So the judge says, that's all you have to say in your defense? He says, yes. So the judge says, okay, I decide that we're going to have to go to the army and get all of the pots and pans and everything that he made, and we're going to weigh them. And we're going to see how much it weighs. And see if he really took too much money. So they said, but Honor, that's ridiculous. We can't, he says, well, it could be that maybe instead of, 1,000,000 tons, it only is 950,000 tons. If so, he took exactly the amount of money. I can't send a person to prison if there's any way to verify that he's innocent or guilty. So despite all the objections of the accusers, so that's what they did. It took them about a week or two, and they had to go to all the different army bases where all this was. And luckily, there were some army bases that didn't distribute the pots and pans yet. And they put them all together. And meanwhile, they held this, our hero, the rich guy, they held him in house arrest. He was in house arrest. They had 2 big guards standing by his door. After a week, he appeared back in court, and they said, Mr. Gross, yes, Your Honor. He said, you say that you took $1 million, 1,000,000 rubles for 1,000,000 tons. Is that right? He says, yes, Your Honor, it's true. So, well, we weighed all of the pots and pans, right? We found out that, in fact, 1,000,000 pounds, 1,000,000 pounds of iron does not cost that much. It costs less, and you took too much money. Says, okay, that's the accusation, Your Honor. Says, well, we weighed it all with the hope that maybe it was only 950,000, and that what you received, that's what you gave, right? Yes, Your Honor. Says, well, we weighed the whole thing out, and Mr. Groys, you lied. Said, yes, Your Honor. He said, we weighed it out, and there's 1,000,000 100,000 pounds. You gave more than what you were paid. He said, really? He said, yes, we waited. On the other side, we said, we did. How could it possibly be? All the people that were against him, they couldn't figure out what was going on. He said, you are a hero. You actually gave from your own money. You gave to the... No, so he got a big standing ovation from the crowd and everything, and he got a certificate. And the other side, so we went back to the Tzemach Tzedek to thank him. And by then the Tzemach Tzedek was already receiving people, and he went in and gave a nice donation, and he said, "I want to thank you for the big miracle you did with me for the iron." So the Tzemach Tzedek said, "What miracle?" So he said, your son, I spoke to your son, and your son spoke to you, and he told you you told him what to do. He said, when was that? He said, just, like a few weeks ago you did. He said, I don't remember. Called the son in, and he said, did you tell this man what to do? He said, yeah, I told him to give charity to that person. He said, well, how did you do with him like that? He said, I didn't tell you to do that. Why did you do that? The boy said, I don't know. It was just so clear to me. I just saw in heaven that if he gave money to this person, I saw tons and tons of iron flying over on his side of the scale and weighing it down. I just saw it. So we see that the Rebbe Mahara'Sh, even when he was a boy, he had a power of Ruach HaKodesh to help other Jews. And he knew that by means of giving charity over here, that it would bring benefit to him, to the person who gave the charity. And so it is to us. By giving charity, it gives us benefit and benefits the whole entire world, and puts it to what's called the Kaf Zechut, weighs the world over to the side of good, and will bring Mashiach. Now, have a good day. See you all at 8:15 tomorrow morning.